It's day 17, even though it's the 20th of the 28 days of Avery. So today I want to talk about a time to kill. Now, there's a quote that I want to read to you, and it is not Samuel L. Jackson's famous quote. It's a classic quote. I think he said, yes, they should have died, and I hope they burn in hell. That's not what we're talking about today. So, okay, let me go over the premise a little bit. So, those of you who don't know about A Time to Kill, it was about a young girl in the South who was brutally, she was abducted, I believe, and brutally um, harmed, and the father retaliated, which was Samuel L. Jackson, and he ended up murdering, I believe, the person who harmed his daughter. I'm sorry, I'm thinking while I'm talking. Bad habit. Anyway, I want to talk about his lawyer, who was played by McConaughey. Yes, Matthew McConaughey. So fine. Um, he was a young lawyer at the time, and he had this quote to say, which I found was very interesting. And it was for his summation. This was the closing argument. And he said, I set out to prove a black man could receive a fair trial in the South, that we are all equal in the eyes of the law. That's not the truth, because the eyes of the law are human. And that jumped out to me. He went on further to talk about, to actually visualize for the jury the brutal happening to Samuel L. Jackson's daughter. And then at the end, after taking them through this visualization, he asked the jury and the entire courtroom to now envision that happening to a young white girl. And you could just see the reactions in the courtroom, like, oh my God. Like, they actually got how horrible this treatment was of this young girl. And so it's not necessarily a prophecy that has come to me or what God has allowed me to think about. But when I thought about envisioning a young white girl being brutally harmed in this way, I stopped to think, and I said to myself, and I'm going to ask you guys, what if God is not white, or Jesus is not white? We know Jesus is not white because he was actually historically in a space that had all brown people. How would that affect how you pray now, knowing that the depictions and all of the Sunday school books with all of the white characters were incorrect? Like, literally is not the truth. How now would you pray to God? And, this is not a new conversation, but I'm bringing up, it's Black History Month. I'm also thinking about the effects of race and color in America. And even with believers, it's funny when the word black or brown comes into a conversation with regards to Jesus and his cultural identity. It now becomes, oh, it doesn't matter what color God is. It doesn't matter. But does it? And how does that affect you? So today I want you to take some time to sit with God and pray about your feelings and how you feel knowing that your God or our God is not who you thought he was.